Jason Vincent here. Please come check me out with my interview on September 3rd, Wednesday evening, September 3rd, on The People Show with D Hall, with Donnie Hall, my man Donnie Hall, D Hall. It's a J. York production, man. He puts out some good stuff, J. York. So come check me out this upcoming Wednesday, September 3rd in the evening on The People Show. We're going to be talking about me coming back to the amateurs. Been gone for 2 years, back helping the boxing community, helping the kids out, man. Real excited about it. We already worked a couple events, refereed and judged a few events. One here in Vegas where we had Isaac Cruz was there, Mark McSale was there, Bruce Carrington was there. All the celebrities were there. Fernando Vargas was there. We'll talk about that. I went up to pay. They had a promotion, an amateur show up there. I was able to ref and judge and help them out. So please come check me out. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm doing a lot of professional matchmaking all over the world. October 3rd, I have a Bobby Hits promotion that I'm matchmaking for in Rockford, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois at the Hard Rock Casino. Making title fights, WBF, UBO title fights all over the world. Come check me out. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Jason Vincent.
Your podcast, my podcast, the podcast of the people. D Hall, People Show.
Let's go. In North Carolina, there's only one podcast. The podcast of the people. We report the news. We report the opinions. We give the people a voice. We give the people the plug. Plug into the People's Show. A J. York production.
There we go. There we go. My mic was muted there, and I didn't see it. Hey, guess what? I gotta got my glasses on. Good evening to you. Welcome you to the People Show. This is where it's at, man. This is where it is at. Right here on the People Show. Glad to have y'all. Thank you for coming on. Hope that you had a great Labor Day weekend. Wow, that was good, wasn't it? Mine was okay. I didn't do much of nothing, but it was okay. It was okay. Yeah. Good to see y'all. Thank you for coming on. Let me say hello to everybody. The people are popping in because this is the People Show. The People Show. I want to say hello to my man, DMC Can. What's happening, brother? Hadn't seen you in a long time. But I know you're around. Good to see you. Mika Ra. Hello. She was a guest on about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, had a great show. And to my man, Chuck Metzar. See you. Hello to you, man. Thank you for stopping in. Y'all better do what it says there. Like and subscribe to the People Show, man. This is where it's at today. Before I get started, y'all know my regular routine. This is what I got to do. This is an online program. This is the work of talk and discussion. This is an online talk show that educate adult audiences. Parental advisory is advised. Some things may not be edited for kids. So if you would, hey, man, watch the kids, you know what I'm saying? Because we might say a little bad words every now and then. Look, I got my man. Yeah, Jason Vincent. Way out on the West Coast. It's been a while. I think it's about 8 months since he's been here. Jason has made like a 360. No, I'm just kidding. He's still the same old Jason, but with different things to share. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Let's get him in. Let's talk to him. And let's enjoy the show for the next I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 minutes, however long it may be. Call-ins are welcome also, as you can see there across the screen. You just see the number, 919-410-8736. And one more thing before I bring him in. You know we're doing live interviews now. On the site where you are, wherever you may be, we're going to set it up right there. But we gotta know in advance though, for sure. Live interviews. It's coming to a store near you. Just messing. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go to my man. I know he's waiting. Appreciate y'all stopping in. He already got some people already rooting for him in his Stephen Ruiz and Tony Burgess. My man Tony. Hey, Tony, what's happening, my brother? We got you on the picture, man. You, Tony, a couple of more people on a new promo picture there, brother. Appreciate it, man. Let me get my man in here. I'm running my mouth too much.
I want to make sure my microphone's on. Can you guys hear me? Is my microphone on?
Your microphone is on, and you're sounding great today. And glad to have you here, Jason. Always a pleasure to have the man on, Jason. Before we do, so for the people that don't know who you are, Jason, if you don't mind, tell them who you are and where you're from.
Hey guys, Jason Vincent. I'm out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, born and raised out here, fight capital of the world, baby. Just doing my thing out here, and I'm just glad to be on the show. Like you said, I was here, I think, on the show last January, so it's good to come back and be on the show. Some things have changed. What I've been doing in the boxing business, so we'll be able to get into that and share that. And just grateful to be here. Hopefully, we get some good questions, and hopefully, I can learn some stuff off you guys, and maybe we'll get lucky and you can learn some stuff off me. But yeah, Jason Vincent out in Las Vegas, Nevada, matchmaker. I make title fights all over the world. I work with the WBF, World Boxing Foundation, a little bit with the UBO now, the Universal Boxing Organization. I manage a fighter and co-train him, Michael Das Marinas, Filipino fighter. We just fought a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, Georgia on the OTX show, on the Overtime show. It was on the Zone, I believe. We fought Elijah Pierce, which I think is one of your upcoming guests on your show there. So I got to spend a little time with Elijah, but I spent some time with his dad too. Good people out there. And just do a little bit of everything. Got back into the amateurs there a little bit. I was in the amateur boxing for about 8, 9, 10 years and took a couple-year break and got back. But a lot of stuff in the business, and I'll let you guys ask questions, and hopefully I can fill in some of those blanks and learn from each other.
Yep, no doubt, Jason. You're like a grocery bag. You're full of the groceries. Always good to have you on. Always good to have you on. And let's go back a little bit, Jason, because I think it was like in January 2025 when the last time that you was on my program here, we talked about a lot of different things. But one thing that stuck out to me, and you just mentioned it as you was talking, was the amateur scene. And before we touch on that, I want to shout out my man Clarence McClain. Clarence McClain, he's into the amateurs a whole lot, and I want to say thank you, Clarence, for being a part of that. No Duck Zone podcast, another podcast today. He's into the amateurs. But as we were saying, Jason, tell me what prompted you to get back into the amateurs.
Well, the bottom line is I missed it. I really missed it. I guess I got to pinch myself sometimes to where I started and where I'm at today. But I still hold that same motto. How high I climb or progress in the boxing business, I always put the boxers or the fighters first. That's still my motto today, as it was when I started mixed martial arts 21 years ago, when I competed in judo and jiu-jitsu and boxing, kickboxing, taekwondo. I'm 52. I'll be 52 in December. My last amateur boxing match was 6 years ago. I was 45. Started coaching, got into officiating. I've refereed probably over 500 amateur bouts up to Olympic qualifiers. I've judged about 1,000 bouts, professional and amateur, up to Olympic qualifiers, and obviously time kept and weigh-ins and inspected and, everything. And that's where I built my foundation. That's where I built my love and my passion. I always had a love for the sport, but I really got to learn the nuts and bolts and ins and outs and how this whole thing operates. This whole boxing business operates, amateur and professional. And I needed a little break. I was busy with some stuff personally at home. My pro stuff that I was doing was really taking off, and I really had to focus on that at that point in time. Got a teeny bit burned out with all, like life, the political stuff that goes on in amateur boxing and pros and life in general. All the he said, she said, and all that type of stuff. So it was a good little break. I missed it right away, but I got what I needed to get done these past 2 years. And just some good personal friends of mine were throwing events, and they needed help, and kind of leaned on me, and I re-registered with USA Boxing. I'll be honest with you, I was just a beautiful welcome. We had the Junior Olympics. Anybody that knows anything about amateur boxing, we had the JOs, the Junior Olympics out here in Las Vegas, Nevada a few months ago this summer. I think it was June. And I just re-registered with USA Boxing for some future events I was going to do for Brendan Gibbons and Sean Gibbons. We're doing some amateur events, and Sean Gibbons is Manny Pacquiao's manager and Brendan's his son. But long story short, I re-registered. I just was going to the event one day. I was off on a Tuesday or whatever, and drove down to the convention center, and I was just going to watch the event. And I saw a couple of the higher level USA Boxing guys say, "Hey, come here, what's going on? We heard you re-registered this, that." I said, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, come on in." So they brought me in the field to play. They had, I think, 4 or 5 boxing rings. And they're like, "Hey, do you want to jump in and work a little bit?" I didn't have my uniform or anything. And I said, "Yeah." So they put me at the inspection table, the gloving table. I did that for a little bit. And then what I did is I just walked from ring to ring to ring. And when the fights were done, the bouts were done, I collected the gloves. They're called glove running. And I'd take it back to the red corner table or the blue corner table where they wipe them up and get them prepared for the next bout. So, and I just saw people that I've known for 8, 9, 10 years all over the United States, back east, Florida, Louisiana, West, California, Arizona, Utah, people I've known for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. And man, it was just such a warm welcome. And I knew at that time that it was the right decision to come back, man.
Come back. And and that's the thing, and I know it was a right decision for you because you talk about it a lot and it means something to you. In your opinion, Jason, what makes amateur boxing so appealing and to you and compared to professional boxing? What makes it so appealing in your thoughts?
There's pros and cons to anything in life, but the pros most definitely outweigh the cons in amateurs. You're helping the kids in the boxing community, first of all. Second of all, these kids, you're getting them off the streets, off the video games. They're hopefully training a lot and eating healthy and eating a healthy lifestyle. So you're mentoring these kids and you're supporting them in their goals that they have at this current time. Is everybody going to go to the Olympics? No. Is everybody going to be a world champion? No. But they can be a world champion in life. They can be good citizens out there, and that's what we need. And we need people to give back to the community. Maybe they do the amateurs 2, 3, 4 years, and they move on. They have kids, jobs, college, military service, whatever they do in life. But after they're done and they become, grown-ups and adults, they give back to the kids. So it's just a cycle. It's a family and it's a cycle. But the most, those are the appealing things is helping, supporting, mentoring the kids and helping the community. There's good people like you. I see you at amateur events. You're part of the community in your way, in your lane that you guys do, you and Jay. And you can referee, you can judge, you can be a coach, you can be a team mom, you can be a sponsor. There's many. You can donate equipment. And it's cool when you go to some of these events, like the event I did about a month ago here in town. I mean, we had Isaac Cruz, Pitbull Cruz there. We had Mark McSail there. Fernando Vargas was there with his team. He has a gym here coaching his kids. We had Bruce Carrington there signing gloves, sitting at ringside. My daughter was a glove runner. She was picking up gloves and taking pictures with Bruce and Mark. And you had Brendan. It's just a special thing. It gives me goosebumps to see it, that even guys at that highest level, world champions and Hall of Famers, are still giving back to the community. And it's just something really special, man. It really is. And there's many other things what I like about amateur boxing, but that's the soul of it right there, man. It really is. And then I like to travel in and meet new people and learning people and traveling all over the United States. But helping the kids in the community is boxers first, fighters first, boxers first, always with.
Wonderful. I like that. I want to touch a little bit on the inside of the ring with, because you are a referee, and you do pro. I know you did. I know you do the amateurs. I don't know exactly if you done the pros, but let me get into this with you. What is the key differences in the scoring criteria between the two, the pros and the amateur? What is the difference there? Can you explain that a little bit?
There's not much difference anymore. There's little subtle differences, but USA Boxing is going towards more of a professional scoring system with the 10-9 rounds. Obviously, you can have 10-8 and 10-7. And really on both sides of it, excuse me, I just had some Mexican food. I'm burping it up here, but they're both the main criteria of both amateur and pros, and whatever percentage you want to put on it, 92, 94, 95, 96% of blows to the scoring area holds the heaviest weight. Scoring area is top of your head, down your ears, jaw, down your sides, and over right below your belly button and your waistband. So both of those, amateur and pros, goes by who scores the most scoring blows to the scoring zone. And now there's a criteria on what's a punch, blow, whatever. What is a punch? How do you score a punch? Is 3 jabs equal to a really good backhand, or is 8 jabs and then the guy, you slip the jab, you roll and you hit him with a 2 or 3 piece, or you kind of even there? That's always up for discussion. And so that's the main criteria right there. And then when you go below that, it will go into ring generalship, aggressiveness, stuff like that. Who's making the fight? Is one guy just running around trying to pop shot, and the other guy is using technique and controlling the ring and the space? So if it's pretty even, you'll kind of drop down to that. And then competitiveness in the amateurs, pros too, but amateurs, say you got blown out in the first round, you made some adjustments in the corner and you came and won the next 2 rounds, even though they were close. Well, you might win that fight there. So, but the main thing is correct blows. When I mean correct, your shoulder behind it, you're turning the hips, you're turning the shoulder a little bit, not slapping, not windmill punches, not flicking.
Right.
Those are things. So the difference really is very subtle now. USA Boxing's kind of geared towards that, and they have seminars and clinics with clinicians. If you go on the USA Boxing websites, they have videos, and you can actually score on them too. You can, they have whatever 20 bouts up or 40 bouts up. Now I haven't been on it yet. I've heard about it, and you can actually score, and then they'll give you what it is. And then I do that with the WBC. I've done it for a few years now. They send me emails for all these big championship fights that are on the Zone or ESPN, Top Rank, whatever. And they have officials from all over the world, professional, and they have a template in a program where you judge that fight. So that this can, Inoue versus MJ coming up, you can score that. Crawford, Canelo, you can score that. And then a couple of days later, they'll email you your scores and everybody else's scores all around the world. These are all professional people signed up with the NABF and the WBC scoring system, not just any fan or anything. You got to be in that, in that group. Right. So these are high level people scoring all over the world, and you can see where you did good or how you stacked up, or maybe you had an off night, or maybe you were dead on. And then it shows the 3 scores of the ringside judges too. So they'll have their 3 scores, Steve Weidman, whoever's there, and you'll have all your guys' scores that everybody put online. So,
wow, that's pretty neat. I like that. That's very interesting, because to understand how that works and how that does in the scoring part of it. That's pretty neat. Let's see what some of the my followers and my people here, my family says. Clarence McLean, No Duck Zone podcast says amateur boxing is the best. I live for it. seeing it today, tomorrow, the future. It's amazing. That's what Clarence McLean says about the amateurs. Have you, and this is something that you may have done or may not have done. Have you ever stopped an amateur fight, and what you felt it was one sided?
Oh yeah. I've let's say this: safety always comes first. But when I'm in the ring, I guess because I've competed in many martial arts and I've coached, and I'm not perfect. I have a lot to learn, but I probably have a pretty good eye since I've been in the ring, and I am with pros, and I practice with amateurs and pros in the ring, and I've just a lot of fights. I've seen a lot. Judge, scored, rep, time kept, whatever I've done. Made championship fights, match made. I've done a lot. So I try to get the kids to the finish line, even if they're outclassed, with safety involved, safety first.
Right. Exactly.
If you can't get them to the finish line, you can't. You got to stop it. I stopped a few at the event I did in Utah a couple weeks ago, and then I stopped a few and here in Vegas. And what I told the kids, and these kids were good. It was 2 high-level kids going, but the guy just kept breaking them down. And by the third round, I gave them a couple. Difference between the pros and the amateurs is if you get knocked down in the amateurs or in the pros, it's a mandatory 8 count. Same thing in the amateurs. But the amateurs, you can give a standing 8 count. Kid gets his head snapped. He's getting a little overwhelmed. He's out of breath. Whatever. Yeah. You don't do that in the pros. They used to years ago. They don't do that. So I can give these kids these 8 counts and let them compose themselves and breathe a little bit. And you're able to do 3 in 1 round or 4 in a whole bout, in a 3 round bout. So I try to get them to the finish line so they're not discouraged. That's an accomplishment in itself. Just walking in between up those 4 steps and in between those 4 ropes is a huge accomplishment already. And then win, lose, or draw, you can get them to the finish line. That's even if they lose, that's still another great accomplishment. And kids get discouraged. They get stopped and they quit. They don't come back, or maybe it was a quick stop, whatever. And that's going to happen. It happens in football and baseball, whatever. Kids, it's just not for them. But I try to get them to the finish line if I can. But if I can't, I can't. Safety's first. And I tell the kids, some of these teenage kids, like, oh, come on. I'm like, look, I've given you 3 8 counts, standing 8 counts. I don't need your mom. I don't need your mom or your grandma in the parking lot yelling at me and cussing me out. You're someone's son. You're someone's daughter. I'm a dad. You did great. Hold your head high. Let's live to fight another day. Take this as it's not a loss. It's a learning lesson. It's an L, but it's not a loss. You're learning. And, you got parents. These are kids. Parents are out there. I see their eyes. Mom's eyes are. My mom was at my fight when I was 45 years old, and her eyes were as big as saucers, and she had tears running down her face. And I'll never forget that.
I know she did.
Yeah,
that's my baby. That's my baby.
I gotta keep the kids safe. So I try to get them to the finish line, but if I can't, I can't. It just is right.
I got you. I want to say hello to everybody that's watching on Instagram, X, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We are live right now with my man Jason Vincent here at Las Vegas, Nevada. Jay York has asked a question. Jay York says, have you ever been offered a bribe? If so, how much?
You know what, guys? That is a great question, and it's something that's not talked about. Now, I'm not thinking boxing is some Mary Poppins episode or I'm sure stuff goes on, and back in the days it went on, mafia, different things. But I'll be honest with you. I've been in mixed martial arts 21 years. I've been in amateur boxing 9 or 10, and I've been in professional boxing now 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever. I've never been bribed. I've been yelled at for judging a fight, and and they didn't like the decision. And I've seen people get in fist fights out in the parking lot over it, but I've never been bribed. And I've never heard of anybody being bribed, amateur or professional, whether I'm matchmaking or with my fighter, Michael Dos Marinas, who fights at a high level, Elijah Pierce, he fought Naoya Inoue. No one's ever come to me with that. Refereeing, judging, matchmaking, making title fights. I've never had anybody come to me, and I've never heard of it. So when I see people post online, oh, the judges are getting paid, or no, I'll tell you this. This is what I will tell you. Okay, I've been the red corner before, which I guess they call it the A-side guy, and we've been the blue corner before, which is, technically the B-side guy. Even we might have been better on paper. Now, it's just like the New England Patriots in September 15th flying down to Miami in the heat and playing the Dolphins. They're on the road. It's a road trip. They'll probably be the underdog because they got to travel. They got to go away from the family. They're living in a hotel room. They're off their schedule. It's, still 95 degrees and 95% humidity. And they're from, Boston or Massachusetts. So same thing in boxing. When you're the blue corner, when we went to Nagoya, Japan in March, there was a bunch of little things stacked up against us, which accumulated to a big thing. When we went and fought Elijah Pierce, he's from there. He could just sit at his house all day and then drive to the event. We're at a room. We got to fly in. We're West Coast people. Now we're on Central or East Coast time. There's different things. We got to take a bus over. There was no bus to pick us back up. We had to Uber back. So not big things, but they're little teeny things that you're not in your home field. They have home field advantage. But as far as a bribe or anything like that, no. Hope that makes sense.
Well, shout out my man. It makes sense. It makes sense. I want to shout out my man Daryl Wise. What's happening, my guy? He said, win, lose, or draw. Yeah, Daryl, no doubt, man. Win, lose, or draw. Jay says, ever had to take a secret exit out for calling a fight? Good question, Jay. Good question.
Hey, Jay, you got some good questions. Get the hell out of here, man. I have not, but I've been, if you're not in there making the proper calls and you're not getting booed every once in a while, or someone's coach or mom's not coming to you, whether you're a ref or a judge, you're not doing it right. If you do it long enough, someone's going to come to you. I saw, I can't remember what fight it was. Mark Nelson, the famous referee from Minnesota, a friend of mine, was refereeing a fight. It had a kid from the Dominican Republic that trained out of Pound for Pound here, and he was fighting someone else, and Mark stopped it, and the corner pushed him, and this and that. And this guy's got thousands of fights in the amateurs. He reffed thousands of fights. He did Usyk and all these different fights, big fights that he's done, and he's still getting pushed at his old age and as many years as he does it. So it happens. I never had to, but I've been in a couple where I've been judging. We're at a couple amateur bouts where I was watching or working the gloving table or whatever, and the referee in the ring, he's no longer here anymore in Vegas. He did it for many, many years in the amateurs. He was getting booed. He got booed 4, 5, 6, 7 events in a row. People were booing him and throwing stuff. I remember even one time Richard Still, he stopped the bout. And he's doing this with the blue corner, and then took him to the doctor and put him back and did something with the red corner with the doctor. And he stopped the bout. It was a little bit bloody noses. He stopped the bout for a zillion years. And finally, Richard Still got off his chair because he sits ringside at his events, amateur events, walked up the stairs and got right in his face. And the doctor was like, what are we doing? He was mad. I never seen Richard Still that mad. But so I've seen that. That guy probably had to take some secret exits out the door. But thank God, man. Oh, yeah. I hope I don't ever have to do that, man. I hope.
That's right,
you're human. You're human. You're going to miss stuff. I've missed stuff in the ring. Coaches come up to you, friends of mine. They're like, Jason, you missed that. And I'm like, let me watch the video, coach. And then I'll watch the video and I'll text the coach and be like, Coach, I missed that, dude. I'm sorry I missed it. It happens. It's like a umpire or basketball or whatever. You're going to miss stuff, man.
Yeah, you're going to miss stuff. You're right. And have you, and then we're going to move on, but this is my last and final question in this department with this. How do you deal with criticism? when making a bad call? Or how do you deal with that criticism? Because people gonna say this, people gonna say that. How do you deal with it?
It's, look, man, it's tough. I don't care who you are, what profession, sport, whatever business you're in or industry. It's not fun getting yelled at or booed or cussed out at, and even getting constructive criticism. And you guys too, with your profession, you do. I try to stay real humble and low, and real, relaxed. And good people make mistakes. Good people can say stuff in the heat of the moment and all that. And then sometimes, there's just bad people out there that are never happy and complain about everything. But it's tough. It's tough. But I always like to look inward and stay humble and critique myself and self-analyze. And
because you get people, man, he sucks, man. That referee, he can't see, man. He needs some glasses, man. Man, get him out of there, man. You know how the crowd is, man.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing too. A lot of people criticize. In all fairness, I would say, I'll put a percentage on it. It could be wrong. I'll say 70 or 80% of the people, maybe even 90% of the people that are criticizing you, just really don't know boxing. They're fans. They think they know boxing, but they don't know boxing like a Mark Nelson does or a Richard Still does or a Joe Cortez does. And I'm not putting myself at that level, but they don't even know boxing like a Jason Vincent does. And I still have a lot to learn.
Right.
So, they don't know what they're talking about. They think they do. Sometimes they're lucky and they're right, but a lot of times they're criticizing. I have coaches one time. I'll give you an example and we'll move on. I was in San Diego doing an event.
Sure.
And it was the ABC group, who's a big organization out there in San Diego. And one of the coaches from a rival gym, his boxer got hit below the belt. Well, in the amateurs, when you get hit below the belt, in the pros, you call time and they get 5 minutes to recuperate, or if they don't, then you make your decision from there. But the amateurs, they get 90 seconds. So every 30 seconds, the timekeeper will hit the mat one time. That's 30 seconds, and then twice is 60, and 3 times that's their time. Well, what you do before you get to that point is you give a standing 8 count, but it's not for the fighter taking damage, a scoring standing 8. It's like a medical or injury standing 8. We give injury standing 8s. If someone throws their shoulder out and their arm's limp, you give them a standing 8 and you assess what you need to do next. So the guy got hit low. The kid bent over, stopped, standing 8, and the coach is yelling, "What are you doing? He got hit low. What are you doing? He got hit low. You suck, ref. That's horrible." Everybody saw. And I looked at him, and we're not supposed to say anything as judges. He kept going on. I said, "Coach, do you read the rule book? What are you talking about?" I go, "That's an injury standing 8 count. That's for injury." "Oh, I didn't know that." Well, I go, "You need to read the book before you're out there yelling at people." So he made himself look like a total jerk, and he's yelling, and you don't even know what he's talking about. And that's a coach that's certified through USA Boxing. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, a lot of criticisms you get is from casual, common fans, and you're going to get it. That's part of it. If you put yourself out there in that position, you got to have some tough, thick skin and be ready to do it. Otherwise, it's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Jay says, here's his question. He's coming with another one, another hot question. He says, what makes you the maddest about the sport?
That people don't put fighters first, boxers first. And then the politics, all the jealousy, and it's just like life. Whatever job you do, I bartend at Caesar's Palace, and I go there, and there's 85% of the people, 90 are great people, but you got that 10% that are, talking behind your back or trying to steal tips from you or whatever, jealous or envious. So it's every day in life. So people that don't put boxers first in the boxing community first, I wouldn't say it makes me the maddest. It just disappoints me and irritates me. But what makes me the maddest is probably grown adults, grown adults volunteering their time for the kids in the community but still want to
Right.
fight with each other and cause drama. I don't get it.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
volunteering. You're volunteering. We're here to help the kids. And then you're going to, even if you don't like me for whatever reason, the way I look, I don't dress the way you
Yeah,
like, this, that, I might
right,
smell, whatever.
right.
At least respect me that I'm volunteering.
Cheering. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so that makes me the
You give your
maddest.
time.
People volunteering, they come there and they get power hungry, they play politics, jealous, envious, and they want to cause trouble. And it's just
Yeah, yeah.
nonsense. It's horrible.
Clarence
That's why,
McLean says,
that's why I took a break for 2 years.
I get it. I get it. I get it. Clarence McLean says, Jason, what amateurs should we be on the lookout for?
Well, I tell you what, Clarence, that's a good question. And I just got back in with the amateurs. So I haven't been doing like the regional events and the national events like I had been doing. I will do the Silver Glove Regional in Compton the beginning of next year in Compton, California for the West Coast. I'm going to try to do the Gene Lewis tournament this year. It's the 50th annual Gene Lewis tournament in Phoenix, Mesa, Arizona. Clarence, you guys all know about Gene Lewis out there, 50th anniversary. That's one of my favorite events. So I'm going to go to that. So all the guys I kind of had in the amateurs are in the pros now, like Cormel and Robert Merriweather and Jacob Cuevas and Fernando Jr. and Amado Vargas and Emmy Vargas and Floyd, all those guys, Richard Torre, all these guys, Tiger Johnson. I had them all at the national level, and now they've all kind of gone, the Mason brother, Abdullah. But the Mason family have a couple good amateurs, the brothers that are coming up. There's a real good amateur with Coach K. Coach K has Bruce Carrington and many other people. Coach K at Knucklehead Boxing Gym. That's the gym I belong to. Sean Gibbons and Manny Pacquiao and Brendan Gibbons, a kid by the name of JR. He's up and coming. He spars with, high level guys there. Coach Rich from Pound for Pound always has great amateurs coming through his program. So those are the ones right there. Charles Johnson, who just turned, he was a high level amateur, turned pro, a couple fights fell out. He went back to the amateurs for the JOs, and now he's turning pro again. These are all kids out of Vegas. I'm working with Coach Aaron Garcia in Payson, Utah, which is right below Provo and Salt Lake City. He has a little hidden gem there in the middle of Utah, and his son is 8-0, Aaron Maximus Garcia in the pros. He had 220 amateur fights, 13-time national champ. Well, both Aarons, Aaron Sr. and Aaron Jr., they have two brothers and a sister there too, and they're all 100, 50, 80, 100 plus fights. So all those kids will do well in the pros. But, the amateurs there's a lot of good talent there. And I just got to get out there and get after and start working events again and see who's who and what's what. Because like I said, I've been out 2.5 years, but those are the ones from Vegas, a few from Vegas that I know.
Yeah. Well, Clarence, I think he answered your question to the fullest, I do believe, as far as the averages goes, no doubt about it. Let's give everybody a round of applause. Jason, I want to get into it. Well, we mentioned this, I think, earlier, last week, or whenever it may be, the Muhammad Ali Reform Act of 2000. It's federal law that protects the boxers and addresses exploitation and practices within the sport. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot right there within itself. What are the requirements does it place on the promoters and the sanctioning bodies? What are the requirements does it place on them?
Well, here's the thing. It places responsibility on all of us, obviously the boxers, but it starts at right above the boxers, they're trainers and then managers. And then, like you said, from there, sanctioning bodies and promoters and all that. And what it's really meant for, obviously, is to have neutrality and fair play is the main thing. And with that said, not to exploit the boxers. And that goes back to, hey, have you ever been bribed or whatever? When you have this act like that, now that doesn't mean people can't use illegal hand wraps or they're cheating or this or that. That happens in every sport, but now there's consequences if you get caught and prosecuted. Well, it's a federal law. So now when that happens, that took a lot of that racketeering and that element out of it, because you can go to federal penitentiary if you're caught, really, really, really abusing the system. And what it really is they don't want, say I'm a promoter and I'm having an event here in Las Vegas. And I have a stable of 6, 7, 8, 10 fighters, fighters, professional. And I'm having an event. I'm going to put 8 of those fighters on. Well, now I'm the promoter. I'm the manager. Okay. Now, I made the matches too. These are my fighters, so I'm getting matches from all over. And now say 2 or 3 of those fights, I want to do title fights. Maybe not the big 4, WBC, WBA, WBO, and IBF, but maybe some ones below that. And I won't mention names, but ones below that. And now I'm supervising that title fight that I'm the promoter, and I got my guys, my coaches cornering him. And I made the match, and I sanctioned the fight through whatever sanctioning body I did. And now I'm supervising. I'm standing there with the belt and wrapping the belt around the winner. Well, they don't want that. That's illegal. Or say you're the promoter, you can't jump in and start refereeing or judging the bouts either.
Right.
And they don't want refs. They don't want refs and judges in the professional ranks. Amateurs is different. They don't want me judging 3 fights. And then I have to go back to the locker room, excuse myself, and wrap my boxer's hands because he's coming back out to fight 2 fights later. Now, all those judges and refs are my friends, and that might influence them because I just left and went. And they don't do that. In the amateurs, you can do it at a local level. But when you get to a national level, Mike Campbell, Mike McAtee, USA Boxing, Angel Villarreal, they don't allow that. You're either there as an official or you're there as a coach and a trainer. There's no doing that. Local events are different. You got to bounce around. Sometimes they don't have enough judges and all that. It is what it is. We still try not to do it at the local level, but sometimes you just don't have enough people to you need that help from those coaches to have enough officials. So, but in boxing where people are getting paid and livelihoods on the line, people's health, life and death's on the line, like they don't want that type of stuff. They want everybody to stay in their own lane and keep everybody at arm's length. It's professional boxing. Just like in football, NFL football and all that, if I'm a referee, they don't want to see me hanging out with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots at some Boston bar, a week before the game, right? People are it's that.
Right. Okay. Jay has a question. The question is, have you ever caught anyone putting something in or on their gloves?
Well, in the amateurs, I've seen Vaseline and ointment or whatever, and we wipe them down. But in the professional ranks, no. I've heard of it, but no. And that's why you have inspectors there. But now you go to some commission, Nevada, California, New York, some of these big commissions, even when I was in Atlanta, Japan, Japanese Boxing Commission, JBC, they're on you when you're wrapping your hands. And I like coaches, one of the trainers from the other opposing team coming over and watching and vice versa, so they can watch the hand wraps. But I've been in some commissions where, I won't name the commission, but smaller commissions, no one's even in the locker room. They got one inspector for the blue corner, one inspector for the red, and they're running boxers back and forth to the ring and in the corner, and they're not there when people are wrapping gloves. They weren't there, to watch the gloves get put on, and that's very dangerous and scary. What I can say is I had a friend of mine go down into Mexico 2 weeks ago for a title fight, and I won't mention where and what title. And both coaches brought their own sets of gloves. So my friend went in one of the locker rooms and he's looking at these gloves, and it just didn't have any padding, and it was really
Wow.
hard and no padding and all that. So he told the inspector, and then he brought the other coach from the other corner over and looked, and they're like, bro, you can't use those. So the kid never got them on, but thank God that my friend was there and kind of examined them before, because that might have slipped through the cracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in the amateurs, I'll give you an example. If it's 143 pounds. We use 10-ounce gloves, 12-ounce gloves, and 16-ounce gloves. And every couple of years they change who gets 10, what weight class gets 10s, what gets 12s. Used to be 139 pounds. It was 141. Now I just came back. It's 143. So this is what's happened to me a couple times since I've been back. They don't have to be the exact weight in the amateurs. Depending on your weight class, you could have a 5-pound allowance or a 7-pound allowance or a 10-pound, meaning someone could be 150 pounds, the other person could be 145, and they can still box each other if the coaches agree. So at that 143 is when you switch over to 12-ounce gloves. 143 and above, you put 12s on. Below that 143, you put 10-ounce gloves on. So you have people at the gloving table, sometimes officials, sometimes they don't have. They have someone from the gym, the mom or someone from the gym passing out the gloves. Well, they'll look at the weigh-in sheet and say one kid weighs 142 and the other kid weighs 144. It happened to me a couple times. Well, they give the 142 kid 10-ounce gloves, and then they give the 144 kid 12-ounce gloves. So when I go in the ring and I go to the corner before I call them to the center of the ring and give them my instructions, I check out the headgear, make sure it's certified by USA Boxing, make sure they have a cup on, a groin protector, check their uniform out, make sure they have a contrasting band, a waistband, so we can see. And then I check their gloves. Hopefully they have a tag on it, or you got to pull it back. And I'll ask them, what did you weigh in at? I weighed in at 144. Okay, you got 12s, good. And I'll go to the other corner and I'll check his. And I'll be like, what'd you weigh in at? Oh, 142. And I'll check and he has 10-ounce gloves. And I'll say, the guy has 12 over there. So in that case, when one person's 144 above the 10-ounce and the 12, and the other one is below, you got to give them the same size glove. You always round up. So even though that kid is 142, he's supposed to wear 10 ounces, he's going to wear 12s. You're going to round up for safety.
Right.
You do it for safety.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Going back to the Muhammad Ali Act here. Challenges. There are challenges for the boxers. When trying to enforce the rights under the Ali Act, what are some of the challenges? Because for the boxers, when they're trying to enforce their rights, what are some of the challenges for them, the fighter themselves?
Well, here's the thing with the Muhammad Ali Act. A lot of people don't even know about the Muhammad Ali Act, let alone know what's in the Muhammad Ali Act. A lot of these younger kids coming up don't know it. A lot of the coaches don't know it. Just like in the amateurs, the guy yelling, hey, you gave him an 8 count, he got hit low. Well, he didn't know. So that's the same thing. People don't educate themselves in it. I know I would say a majority of the officials, the refs, the judges, sanctioning bodies, they have to be certified through ABC, the American Boxing Commission, the main rules that we use, the ABC rules. So we have seminars and all the big conventions like WBC, IBF, WBA, WBO. They'll have certifications with the ABC. They'll have a seminar, a clinician, and you'll take a test and all that. So that's first thing is part of Muhammad Ali Act is you want people to be know the rules and be certified. But as far as enforcing it, I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen anybody brought up on charges through the Muhammad Ali Act that I know of. I haven't heard of anybody that told me. All I know is people have told me like, hey, Jason, if you want to be a pro ref or judge, you can't manage boxers and match make and all that. And I get that. And vice versa. You know, if I'm a match, you know, so I make sure I stay in my lane. I used to work for a sanctioning body. Well, I didn't manage boxers and I didn't match make while I worked for that sanctioning body. You know, I'd pass information along or, you know, stuff like that. But I didn't, you know, I wasn't passing out contracts. I didn't get paid on nothing. I kept an arm's length. When I got into the matchmaking and managing, I resigned my position with the sanctioning body, the WBF.
Right.
So now what I do is if something comes across my desk, I know the supervisors there at the WBF and the UBO. And what I do is I give people their phone numbers and just say, hey, here's Derek's phone number. Here's Jeremy's phone number. Give them a call, you know, let them know you ran it through me. And I tell them that Jason Vincent sent it to you. And then you guys are on your own. You know, that's it.
Yeah. Right.
So you got to really stay in your lane. You know, you got to be careful with what you do here.
Yeah, got it. Man, I'm gonna wind this down a little bit because I'm gonna wind it down a little bit with great information because I want the people to understand what it was all about. The Muhammad Ali, I touched on that a little bit. I just want to get your opinion, your thoughts on the big fight that's coming up on September the 13th. Crawford and Canelo. Yeah, what's your thoughts about that and who you picking?
Well, it's interesting. I'm intrigued and I'm interesting. Terrence Crawford, I've met him a few times at Top Rank Boxing and some of the events, and he's a very humble, he's a cool guy, very humble guy, and I love that. And you know, nothing against Canelo. I'm rooting for Terrence, but I'm a little worried about the weight. Right. I think personally, and the age too, but I think personally at Terrence weight class, he's a better all-around fighter than Canelo, me personally. And Canelo's phenomenal, one of the best of all time. But moving up a few weight classes like that, you know, I give Canelo an advantage, man. So I give Canelo an advantage. So if I had to pick, man, I'd say Canelo by decision. But I want Terrence Crawford to win, me personally. Yeah. And it's nothing against Canelo. I like Canelo too, but it's nothing against him. I like Terrence Crawford. Yeah. I like the way he fights. I like the way he carries himself. I met him personally. I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan. So I want to see him win. If he can overcome that weight, man, I'll bow down to him and be like, I'm not underestimating Terrence, but I hope they have a good game plan to, you know, I'm sure they're smart people over there. Oh, yeah. Him and Bomac, and they're highly intelligent, and they got access to all the best stuff, best sparring partners, the best training camp, and they're coming to fight, and it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a good fight, but I got to see if Terrence can overcome. You know, it's not like he's going up one weight class. You know, he's moving up a few here, so that worries me a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, you saw Roy Jones go up and down and do good, and Manny Pacquiao and all that. So, man, I don't underestimate anybody, but when people do that, you know, I got to see. I got to see, man.
You got to see. I want to say hello to Christian Schmidt. He says, good idea for a guest. Much love. My boy Jason, as Christian Smith.
Christian, my guy, dude, down there in Texas. Yeah, down there. RGV, baby. RGV, Rio Grande Valley. Yeah, this Christian Smith is a great advocate for amateur and professional boxing, real quick. And not to toot his horn, but the guy has tremendous talent. I probably worked, 300 amateur and professional events in some aspect. And he's one of the best announcers / play-by-play guys I've ever seen in my life. And I've worked with him down in South Texas and Brownsville, Texas a couple times. And then he came and did the event that I helped out with here in Las Vegas, February 22nd. He was the announcer. And that's the first time I really got to really see him announce in person, because the other ones down in South Texas, he was working for Azteca TV, and he was doing the play-by-play. I even did an interview with him, I think once or twice. But hey, hats off to Christian. He's a good dude, great advocate, great knowledge of the sport, and just a phenomenal guy, man.
Yes, sir. No doubt. Shout out to my man Ramon Estrada. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on and
What's up,
being part of
Ramon?
it.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, he's watching. Look, man, we got to get out of here. Before we go, man, give me your last few words. It's been wonderful, man. We had a great show tonight and learned a lot too. Give me your last few words.
Well, my last few words is for you, Donnie Hall, D Hall, my man D Hall, and Jay York, dude. Listen, man, I'm getting goosebumps again. You guys are doing great, outstanding stuff, dude. Keep doing what you're doing. Tell Elijah Pierce, Jason Vincent, Michael Dos Marinas' coach said hi. Tell them we want a rematch. But look, dude, you and Jay, for real, what the stuff that Jay does, the content that Jay puts out is priceless. And anybody that can come on the show and have the workups that Jay do and that you do, Donnie, should consider themselves fortunate and grateful, because that's
Thank you.
Content that they can use moving forward with their career, the content that you give them. Right. So, and then I see you at amateur events now and doing the things you're doing. So, you know what? My final thoughts are half off to you. Salute to you and Jay. Keep growing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep learning. Keep, just getting better. And man, I hope I can come back once a year and just see you guys blow this thing up, man. You guys, I love you guys. You guys are doing great stuff, man. Good stuff.
Man, I appreciate you, Jason, and thank you for your compliments. Me and Jay, we work hard at what we do, and we enjoy having everybody on, because we just not only do sports, we do it all, man. We do it from the top to the bottom to the top, man. And we do it right here on the People Show, and people like you, we definitely appreciate. And everybody, no matter who you are, all walks of life, man. Glad to have you on, man. Look, we'll catch you next time, Jason. Sure.
Good seeing you, brother. Thanks for having me on. Very grateful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, great talk tonight, man, with my man Jason, man. Wow, man, great talk. Look, hey, he said it. He's the man. He does it. He does it all, man. Jason, great guy, man. Look, I'll see y'all Sunday. I got my man Elijah Pierce coming on. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. I hadn't had him on in a long time, so glad to have him on the People Show. Ramon says to Jason, "What's up, Jason? Keep up the good work. Keep shining in boxing." Yeah, I know that's right. All right, man. Look, I got to get out of here. I thank y'all for watching the show tonight. It's been a pleasure. We'll catch you next time on the People Show. Sunday, we'll see you Sunday at what time is that? 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's our time on the People Show. Join us next time with our new exciting guest. To be a guest on the People Show, email dmost42@gmail.com. The People Show is a J. York production. Thanks for your comments, call-ins, and questions.